Hello, welcome. So today I'd like to talk about Isaiah 9:16. So I think this is a great verse, once again very applicable to the people of America, or the people of the world, people of the Laodicean church age. So that's, it's just like my last video, I do try to make these apply to us in the modern day world. It says, for the leaders of the people caused them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So the leaders of the people, so it's very important that you have good leadership in a church. Your pastor doesn't just need to be like a good preacher, preferably, but have the right qualities, of a pastor, of a church, and a lot of them don't. If you're called to preach, you're called to lead people. As a Christian, the Bible should come first. You shouldn't be swayed by the world. So if you're swayed by the world and you're in a leadership position, then you're affecting everyone else because people are going to look up to you. It's completely natural. When you're in a leadership position, people do look up to you. And people actually listen to your opinions and your thoughts, and it's kind of scary. Like, you have to really think about it. So for me, it was kind of weird at first too. That hey, wait, these people are actually listening to me. So if you approach it correctly, you're going to worry about what you say. You're going to think about it like, hey, these people are going to believe me, and I need to make sure I'm saying the right things of the Lord, which is why you need to pray. You need to make sure you're close to the Lord before you preach, because people are going to listen to what you say if you're in a leadership position. So this is important. So I'm just speaking from if you are someone in a leadership position, that is very important, because people do look up to you. If you're a parent, your kids are going to look up to you. So you need to make sure you're right with the Lord, because you are affecting those around you. And even if you're not in a leadership position, if you're just you're just a regular person going to church, it's still very important that you have good leadership, because if you're under the bad leadership, you're going to go the wrong way. You want to make sure you're under good leadership. So the leaders of the people cause them to err. So this is, inside the church, outside the church. When you have a dictator in power, a psychopath in power, you have problems, especially when that person is the leader of a country. You get guys like Putin starting wars for really no good reason, if you listen to the logic and the explanations for why they're starting a war, it never makes sense. It's always an exaggeration. It's always an overreaction. So it's very important that when you have leadership, your leadership isn't crazy. Millions of people have died in wars because of their psychopath, king. So anyway, this is the situation you want to avoid. You don't want crazy people in power. It's the same thing in church. You want good Christian men that actually fear the Lord. And if you are in a leadership position, you should take it seriously. And you're going to worry about leading people correctly. If you don't have fear, then something's wrong. You should have a bit of fear if you are in a leadership position, that you are leading people correctly. So you're saying what the Lord wants you to say and to do what the Lord wants you to do. So it is important to have good leadership. And the reason we have so many problems in churches, particularly in America, but other countries as well, is because we have had generations of poor leadership. People willing to kind of like go with the world, take in the world's ideas, let all that stuff into the church. And now people don't even see what the problem is. Some people aren't gonna know what I'm talking about because they don't understand the problem. They haven't studied history. They don't know what things used to be like. That's why church history is a very important topic. You can see how things used to be like, what kind of Christians used to be like, what Christians used to act like, what kind of pastors we used to have, what kind of preachers we used to have, how close they were to the Lord. And we don't really see that as much these days. we have more finances, we have more resources, where it's a lot easier to send missionaries overseas and to get stuff done and to do giant projects. That's great. We have the finances, but the heart motive of the Christian, it's just not the heart attitude has changed. The wealth has increased, but the love for God's word and his work has dropped. So make sure you're under good leadership, because as it says in this verse, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So to avoid being destroyed, you want to make sure you're under good leadership, because if you follow a bad leader, it could be your fault, but you're going to pay the consequences for them. You know, they're going to make bad decisions, and you're gonna be along for the ride. You're gonna suffer the consequences of their bad leadership. So I have personally seen church splits. It can be a mess. So definitely it's a situation you want to avoid if possible. But yeah, we have so many problems. Just bad leadership. Either their personal qualities aren't good. They're acting in the flesh. But make sure you're in good leadership, good Christian leadership. Do they care about the God's word? That's really what's important. Do they, when they make decisions, do they follow God? Or is it just, their own opinions and their flesh making the decisions for them? And this is something easy to spot. So are they some kind of charlatan? We got all sorts of problems. And that's why some people get angry and they don't come back to church. They get depressed. They get mad and they don't come back to church. And then they don't want to have anything to do with Christians anymore. And that's because of bad experiences. But there's plenty of good churches. You just need to find one and pray about them. And it does take some time sometimes to find a good church. Like I had to pray about it sometimes. When I moved here, it took some time. But you have to find a church that you belong in, where you are getting good leadership, good preaching, and you could tell people fear the Lord in that church, and generally want to grow, and they're interested in seeing other people grow. So that's what's important. Anyway, so I can go on a long time for this topic, but yeah, it's important. Especially in today's world, this is a common problem, but we need good leadership. So anyway, I'll see you next time.